And welcome back to the WGL APAC Season 2. If you're just joining us, shame on you because you just missed Team Efficiency do the impossible, take out EL Gaming in a 5-4 victory. Hello, my name is Max Roki for Foglia. Joining me again is Alex Go-Go Gadget Blakey, and we just had the pleasure of casting one of the best, if not the best, APAC Tanks game in history.
Look, I was just making a bit of a tweet, Max, and the tweet was going to say that was the best game of WGL APAC that I've ever cast.
Right. I think you're right.
So, without a doubt, that one that we just saw there, it will be, I'll call it now, impossible to top for the entire weekend. I think to have Team Efficiency, a team that, at the end of last season, the end of the season one, they didn't expect to get to playoffs as such, and they were surprised they got to playoffs, and then they were surprised they got to finals. To have them come back and beat the season one winners, season one undefeated winners of WGL APAC like that, with their own improvements, their own skill on their own merits.
Yeah.
Like they did. It's just amazing.
Super impressive stuff. And once again, a huge congratulations to the players over at Team Efficiency. Enjoy the rest of the night off. And don't party too hard. It's only Friday. You still have Saturday and Sunday left to go. But it's a hard act to follow. Meltdown taking on Horsemen coming up next. Horsemen, the other team to take it to EL Gaming last week, unfortunately losing out in the tiebreaker on that 4-5 fashion going up against Meltdown. This time around, Meltdown kind of middle of the pack here. They haven't really shone too much, but they haven't looked too shaky either.
Yeah, Meltdown, I mean, they've really been the kings of mediocrity this season.
Yeah.
Not really making too many impressive plays. They've thrown a few spanners into the works in terms of tanks on some of the sides that they played, but really it's been pretty so-so from them. Would love to see them step it up though, and towards the end of last week, they were looking okay. They did beat Dark Wolves 5-0 recently. They did go down to T15, did go down to B Gaming 3-5. But look, Vicetone, Mr. Batchat, if he can play well, if Blast can play well, we know that Blast, he can get himself in an S-tank or generating some of those other high damage dealing tank destroyers. He can make some big plays. So can Pink Pig as well. He's one to look out for.
Yeah, on their own, all these players are very, very high rating players and can pull off great stuff when being allowed to. It's just when the teamwork comes into play. It's such a huge factor in World of Tanks. They've just kind of been faltering there time and time again.
Yeah, without a doubt. But look, Meltdown there. Hopefully we'll see how well they do up against the guys from Horsemen.
Oh, yeah. Horsemen, they've been looking so damn strong. Taking it all the way to the end against EL. A feat not many can say, aside from Team Efficiency, to go back on that one. But look, you got players Nundasu, Sphinx, Spencer. They're all leaving their mark on this game.
They're a good bunch of guys, absolutely, Horsemen. And I think Sphinx, he's become a really big part of the Horsemen's lineup. Obviously, Sphinx was added into the Horsemen's roster this season. He used to be on EL Gaming last season under the alias of Flag. And he's been doing a fantastic job. I honestly think he was actually a bit of a loss for EL Gaming for them to drop him or for him to go across. I'm not too sure how it worked.
And they replaced him with Principal, correct?
Yeah.
And Principal hasn't been playing too well.
No,
so
honestly,
far, yeah, bit of a loss.
Principal has not been playing too well, and I don't know whether that's just being new to the team, but definitely not not really stepping into Sphinx's shoes quite as well as Mr. Principal. But look, shakes things up for us, so that is always good. And Horsemen, 52% attack win rate, 59% defense win rate. I mean, they've been looking strong, and I think that they're actually a little bit stronger than those win rates kind of suggest.
Yeah. And look, it's going to be a hard game to call. We know Meltdown and Horsemen, they're both kind of in the middle of the pack at the moment, both looking to break on and get a little bit further in that top 4. And of course, to help them do that, we selected 2 of the top players for this head-to-head to go up. Archon and Rush.
Yes, Archon and Rush, they're the damage dealers of their respective teams here, and we can see that Mr. Rush with 1948 average damage dealt. Mr. Archon there with 1966. Both fairly even in that one. And surprise, surprise, both of their most played tanks is the Bat Chat.
Yeah, they've just been putting on work when they get their hands on the Bat Chat. The rest of the stuff pretty standard coming across. No real deviances to speak of. So two very evenly matched players here. So coming into this series, it's going to be a very hard-fought battle. I do hope that Meltdown can pull out something good for us tonight, because like you said at the top of the show, Kings of Mediocrity, they're not looking phenomenal, they're not looking crappy, but I don't know if they have it in them to beat Horsemen tonight, who are coming off a very, it's strange to say coming off a very good loss, but coming off a very good loss from last week's game against EL.
Yeah. The only sort of downside for Horsemen is that last week they also did lose to Karen Tiger.
That's true.
And technically their most recent game, 1-5. So that wasn't great by the Horsemen dropping that hard down to Karen Tiger after they had such a close game to EL.
Yeah.
But I really think, like, for all those Horsemen guys, no doubt there will have been a couple of them watching in chat. I know that Spencer, I think, likes to stream and had a couple of plats with him one time as well, and he likes to hang out in Twitch chat. And I bet he'll be
champs with the rest of them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I bet he'll be a little bit disappointed that it wasn't his team that ended up, breaking WGL APAC history and beating EL going. But let's take a look at the map picks here for both of these teams, and it's looking like Meltdown don't want to play on proc.
Yeah, makes a lot of sense. Kind of shaky. Few
Yeah,
teams are choosing to get rid of proc. A lot of teams are very proficient on it, and when you're going up against a team that's really got their act together, it's very hard to exploit.
It's interesting though, because both of these teams are kind of the exact same statistically on proc. So not too entirely sure why Meltdown want to be taking that on. I actually thought that Meltdown did have some good S-Tank players, so they could go with proc. Anyways, what else? We've got Muravanka banned out there by the Horsemen. They're not that good on Muravanka, so that's a good ban. Himmelsdorf picked there by the Horsemen. Solid as well. They're pretty good on the old Himmels. We've got Cliff Mines banned out. Again, most of this stuff is fairly standard. What I'm a little bit surprised to see there is...
Got these steps, right? We haven't seen steps in quite a while.
Yeah, it's interesting. Interesting, because we've got steps. Both of these teams are really good at steps, so it's fair enough that they leave that through. But, having Ruinberg in there, both of these teams roughly the same on Ruinberg. Meltdown do like to play it, even though they've only got a 40% win rate on it. But the questionable thing for me is Ghost Town, because on Ghost Town, Horsemen have played it 10 times over both the attack and defensive sides. They've got an 80% win rate. So for Meltdown to actually let Ghost Town through, which is a map they've only played once on one half, is a little bit surprising.
It's a bit of a head scratcher. Bit of a head scratcher here, and like you said, Horsemen, they looked really, really good on it. So coming into this game could potentially jet them off to an early lead. Meltdown picking Himmelsdorf for the second map. Steps and Ruinberg will be following it up in maps 3 and 4 respectively. Himmelsdorf being the tiebreaker yet again.
Yes, there we go. So we'll be interested to see how that shapes out there. I mean, like Himmelsdorf, it's a map that Meltdown, like historically, they've always picked it. They've always liked to pick Himmelsdorf, and they've looked somewhat comfortable on it. They just don't win that much on it this season, which is just the last little piece of the puzzle that you sort of probably should look
It's
at.
kind of the most valuable piece,
Just
though.
a little.
I think if you're doing a puzzle, and winning is the key piece, and you kind of want to get that one locked in immediately. But of course, all good things come to those who wait and practice.
Yes.
Story comes true for team efficiency, hard work and determination. It pays off. So if these teams want to put in the same amount of hard work and determination, there's no reason that they can't get just as high up on the leaderboard as team efficiency. Because Horsemen and Meltdown, they both have a plethora of good players amongst their rosters. All they need to do is focus.
Yes. Look, Meltdown, they don't have a shortage of talent on the Meltdown roster. They've got lots of high skill, high mechanical kind of capability individual players. You've got Virestone, you've got Pang Pang, you've got Pink Pig on the Meltdown side. So look, they can go toe-to-toe with some of these Horsemen guys. There's no doubt about it. But I just feel as though the Horsemen make a little bit of a stronger team, and that's why I've put down here, like the rest of our casters, both Max and Jordan are going with me, and saying 5-2 to
I think that's a wise call, and it seems to similarize mine with yours right now, because your prediction game's on point. So it's I'm feeling confident. 5-2 fashion for this one. Jumping, of course, into Ghost Town. The first map could have been vetoed away by Meltdown if they had done their research, but Horsemen looking very, very strong last time we saw them take to this battlefield.
Yes. Well, okay, so speaking of taking to this battlefield, let's see what these teams will be taking into this battlefield. Horsemen going to be going with a Kranvagen and an Udez, so adding a little bit of Swedish flair to their Ghost Town defense. I like that. And, you know, even though we haven't seen the Udez win too much, I still sort of think it can be valuable, particularly against these teams that do the WZ-111s essentially for a northern flag attack. When you do that, like, yes, the Udez is a perfectly viable tank, and I'm sure it could win well. But apart from that, look, WZ-111's great little tier 9 heavy tank. Chinese, obviously, very good gun, very good turret as well.
Sending the Batshat up there with Spencer. So a little bit of a variation on the stock standard. Chuck the Oods up on the hill and let it work itself out. We'll have to see what Horsemen are playing at here.
Yeah, that's interesting. Throwing another Batshat up on the hill there for the Horsemen. Just a little bit of extra damage, I guess. Nandesu, maybe he's going to be going for a secondary boost up onto that A3 area. Looks like he will be. In the meantime, though, Pang Pang. Rip Pang Pang.
Yeah, he just got obliterated. Maybe that's why they chucked that extra bit of oomph up on the hill. Pang Pang not going to be too confident poking out anymore, but Hawks takes a lot of damage.
Oh,
he could be getting completely taken off the map. Pang Pang goes down, but that's a WZ-111 for a Kranvagen, a trade that Meltdown will make any day of the week.
Yeah, that's not a bad trade at all there for a Meltdown, but it is all happening in the city here. Very aggressive push for a Meltdown. Oh, yes. Vicestone getting another kill on towards Sphinx. And look, right here, I think it's actually still fairly even. Meltdown have the slight HP advantage, the slight HP lead, and we're in that awkward situation where some of those autoloaders are just reloading. Gorilla's going to be hightailing it out of there, though.
He's in a very bad position right now, because look who's staring down his sights. It's Pink Pig. At the moment, the autoloaders, they're off the reload now. Gorilla, he's not long for this world. He's going to get blown to smithereens any second now. Gets one shot off before he gets sent sky high. Nandesu has come down from the hills to give his team a little bit of backup. It is a 4 versus 5 favoring Meltdown right now. Which hill will Meltdown play for, though?
Yeah, it's a 4 versus 5. Unfortunately for the Horsemen, they actually have an Ood, so they have a tier 8 in the mix there. Meltdown all in those tier 10s, and they should be able to get all of those autoloaders reloaded. They have 4 of them left on the field, so Meltdown with a lot of damage left up here, and it could be very dangerous for the Horsemen overall. It's going to be an uphill battle for the Horsemen to try and come back in towards this one. Not impossible, but they're going to have to play their cards right. And the way that Meltdown's going, they're just slowly pushing in, not really getting into kind of super bad situations, I guess.
You can see Spencer trying to scout the hunting grounds for any stray Meltdown tanks. Hasn't got one in his sights just yet. Archon OBOV kind of just being the front runners for the remaining Horseman squad. Nandesu back up on that A3 boost, so he'll be providing a little bit more oomph to that hill position for the Horsemen. Meltdown, though, all they need to do is find a hill and stick to it and force the Horsemen out of their hills.
Yes, right now Nandesu in the Batshat, sticking up there, making himself nice and low, got a low profile. Vicestone in the meantime. I'm a little bit surprised as to why Meltdown maybe don't try and put a... I mean, maybe a tank on the 2-cap's not the best idea, but I think I could probably spare it. They do have 5 up, but...
Just something to force out Horsemen, because right now it's a bit stagnant. Meltdown, they do have the advantage, and they know how quickly the tide can swing from one bad play. It looks like they will be finally putting Pink Pig on the hill to force Horseman's hand.
Yeah, so right now we do have the FV215B on the cap, and that's a good move, putting that one there. That's Obviously, FE215 be a tank that can ricochet quite a few shots. And yeah, I'm going to be seeing OBOV maybe trying to get the reset, potentially.
Making his move through very carefully. Visatone will be the first one. First responder on scene once OBOV makes his appearance. 30 seconds left on the cap. Visatone, full clip. Mr. Batshat did a great job of taking out a tank earlier. I think it was Sphinx. Let's do it again.
Yeah, and situations like this where I'm not too keen on Spencer just sitting up there in A1. He might not be able to help. Oh, Nandesu. Spotted out.
Oh, he's going to go down here. One more shot out of Mr. Batshat should take it out. Decides to aim in for that. Narrowly misses it, but he's got OBOV in his sights. Pathfinder does get the kill onto Nandesu. In the end, OBOV goes down. Archon and Spence, last players left alive, but it's not going to matter. This should be a very easy hill cap coming through for Meltdown.
Yeah, 15 seconds left on the cap. Horsemen only have 2 members left. I mean, maybe they'll be able to take out Pathfinder here, but with only one shell left in the clip, no way that Archon could do anything else. I don't really think Spencer did much in that fight. Would have been more useful actually in the fray. So it's all well and good just having an Udez always sit up there, but yeah. Oh, there we go.
Just like that, Meltdown off to an early lead. Good stuff. It's been a very interesting night in terms of games. Didn't think they Meltdown had it in them to take a round off Horsemen on Ghost Town, nonetheless.
Ghost Town, very interesting. I mean, look, Meltdown, they haven't played Ghost Town too much, but maybe it is like a pocket pick for them as a bit of a map. So, who knows, I guess.
I just feel like teams are learning how to play around the Oots.
Yeah.
The last few rounds, the Oots hasn't done too much unless people are playing for the one flag.
It hasn't, but on the other kind of side of the coin, it is a tier 8. So typically speaking, you know, it's not often that we see a tier 8 play a crucial role anyway in maps like this, like Ghost Town. I think the RU251, the only thing it would do anyway is just get the cap reset and probably wouldn't do anything in a brawly scenario like we just saw there anyway. So I think, you know, Uda's still not a bad pick at all, but the issue for the Horsemen there is they just got obliterated.
They did.
in that push, and that was not pretty to watch.
It just seemed like they got outclassed at their own game right there. Horsemen great at brawling around that city landscape of Ghost Town, but this time Meltdown, they came out ahead, taking the first round on Ghost Town, and you mentioned could have seen a ban go that way, but looks like Meltdown, they know what they're doing, Alex.
They absolutely do, and let's take a look to see if we can learn a little bit of how Meltdown did it with some of the top plays from that one there. And yeah, Sphinx just getting taken down. Like, he was in the open there. That was dodgy positioning from Sphinx, but also great positioning from Mr. Visatone to get that. And again, somehow it gets ricochets on Batchats. I swear, I only see ricochets and Batchats in WGL. Never happens in random games for me. Unless I'm shooting one, but...
of course, that's the way it goes, right?
Yep.
Look, clear-cut victory for Meltdown, playing quite well. Didn't throw away their advantage at any stage of the game. It was practically over from the word go. Going for a cap victory this time around. On the second half, they will be defending. We'll see if they do something similar with the Oods up on the hill, but Blast, Visatone, and Cry putting up numbers. Great to see Visatone back on the top half of the leaderboard because he's had kind of a weak start to the season. But Phase 2 seems to be the tale of the underdogs.
A little bit there, but yeah, Blast in that AMX 50B with 4.2 thousand damage out. He's got to be very, very happy with that. 12 shots fired, 2 kills as well. And, well, I mean, sometimes we do see these big damage numbers coming out of the top members there on a Meltdown side. So props to Mr. Blast for that.
Yeah, great stuff coming out of those three. The 4 on the side of Horsemen, Archon, Gorilla, Spencer, and Hawks doing work, but unfortunately it just wasn't enough to help push their team over the line. You can see a pretty even spread on the second portion of the leaderboard here. Momo and Pang Pang not doing a lot in the WZs, but enough to help the team win the game.
Yeah, one shot each in the WZs, but I think they took a fair few shells as well, and that's the other purpose of those WZs. I mean, even if they don't get too much damage out in an all-in brawl situation, they can, you know, take a little bit for tier 9s. They can get a good little shot off with their big cannon and Yeah, it's all right. It's all right.
Great stuff out of Meltdown. Didn't expect them to take the first round so convincingly over Horsemen. Thought it was going to be a little bit closer, especially coming into Ghost Town here. So now, Horsemen, they're on the back foot. They're not used to starting a series this way. They've been playing very, very well recently despite that loss against Karen Tiger. So maybe they, that loss to EL did more damage than we've been led to believe.
Maybe. I don't know. It's yeah, they might be still a little bit reeling from it,
Yeah.
I guess. Who knows? But look, they've got to focus on what is at hand. And what is at hand for them right now is Meltdown. They need to take them out. They need to think about what tanks they might be going with here now that we're going to be flipping sides.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah, exactly. Getting them. But let's take a look, I guess, at what tanks we will be going with on these next sides. So,
Heavy lineup from Horsemen here.
Ooh, Horsemen, what is that for a lineup? We don't see that very often on Ghost Town. They've got it's like a super heavy lineup with an arty. So
Interesting.
the attack. And obviously the arty means that the Uds is going to have to be a little bit careful. They could probably still go for that one flag push as long as they. But again, an arty's not too useful if you don't spot out the Uds.
That's right.
Because you're not going to be doing too much pre-firing with an M40. So interesting. Yeah, I'm not too sure what to make of this one.
I guess we're just going to have to wait and see it in practice.
Yeah, look, I don't like the T57 Heavy, obviously, but they have got the two Kronwagens on the other side, and they've got the E100s. I'm sure if you looked at statistically, then statistically Horsemen would have a very low chance of winning with that lineup. But here we go. We can see Uds doing the good old boost while the Horsemen roll out.
Oh, no, he's failed it.
Oh, no.
He brings shame to his entire tanking family.
Yep.
Gonna have to retry that one, but that's gonna be crucial seconds that he's not in the advantageous position raining down the fire, especially looking at how Horsemen are setting up over to that one flag. He needs to be up in that boost and he needs to do it now.
Yeah, Blast. Look, he should hit this one. That's looking better. Yep.
Elementary stuff right there.
He's up there. He's up there. And I'm sure anyone that has tried at home to do some of these boosts that our WGL players...
It's not as easy as it looks.
No, it's definitely not as easy as it looks.
We can sit here in our comfy chairs and with our big words and talk about how, oh, he could have hit that easy, get into a game, miss it 10 out of 10 times.
Yep, that's right. And now we are going to be seeing these guys actually pushing up towards the one flag, Horsemen that is. I'm not too sure what Meltdown's strategy is here because it's fairly obvious that the Horsemen might go for the one flag with that IS-7 unless it's just going to be that Uds blast kind of getting all of the resets, which is obviously the idea, generally speaking.
2 tanks on the hill now, 40 seconds left. Meltdown, they got a lot of time to play with, but if they wait too long, then they could find themselves frantic.
Yeah, but they're not waiting. Meltdown making the right move here, and Gorilla has been spotted, so that should mean easy resets here.
Yep.
Oh, yep. There we go. And it's looking like in the city, in the meantime, we are actually going to be seeing Meltdown moving on to Archon, potentially, who's the first, first man in the line of fire, so
no
to
damage
speak.
being traded yet, only Gorilla falling down very, very low. Cry gets a big shot on top of him. Gorilla, he's just going to be taking pop shot at the Uds. Can't find it just yet. Still a minute on the hill. He's going to get reset here. Momo and Archon trading blows here. Archon getting the rough end of that one.
Yeah, Archon, he actually misplayed a little bit there. He poked a little bit too far up in his Kranwagen so that the side of his weak hull armor was vulnerable.
Look at Vicer. Tony's going to find out. Oh, thought he might be able to spot out the arty, but there will be a Kranwagen spotting him.
Oh, you know what? It's happened again, Max.
Yep.
The T57 Heavy, it's on the reload, gets rushed. See you later. And
he can't get the EL Gaming out of his mind.
Yeah. What is it with these EL Gaming players and the T57 Heavy? This is all going to a shambles for the Horsemen. They just got torn apart by a Batchat. They're getting torn apart in the town. They're Kranwagens. The Kranwagens, they do nothing.
They're just getting slaughtered right now. The Horsemen getting bucked wild off the horseback. And Nundasu, last player left alive in the Kranwagen. No hope for survival. And look, it's going to be a pretty one-sided slaughter on Ghost Town. 2-0 up on the Meltdown. And when we were discussing Meltdown earlier this week, Alex said they haven't done anything to impress me. They've been mediocre, they've been boring to watch, but I take that all back. Exciting stuff. We can finally see Mr. Batshat himself doing work, pumping out the damage, great rotations, always a presence on the map. About time.
That was winning Meltdown to me. Look, that was a Meltdown that we saw last season take control of the map and execute a smart push, right? They used their Batchats perfectly. I think it was the one Batchat that flanked all the way up through to the Horsemen spawn.
He did.
And
cheeky.
the Horsemen, they had to leave a tank in spawn because they had the artillery, who I don't think did much, by the way,
No.
the M40. Didn't see any big shots. So that was always going to be a flanking option for Meltdown to take, and particularly because there was an artillery on the scene there. So there was no tier 8 scout tank to give early warning of any Batchats flanking. Meltdown recognised that, they exploited that. Great little bit of play, and in the meantime in the city, there was a little bit of mechanical error from some of the Horseman players, like the Kranwagen there. I think it was Nandesu or Spencer in that one, just not able to trade effectively. And you're in a Kranwagen on the bottom of a hill looking up. You can't take damage in that hold down situation. That is where you literally should be invincible.
Yeah.
You know, I played the Kranwagen a couple of times on my press account, and the first time I played it, I got 4K damage blocked because it's just so easy to sit behind a hill, just make sure that there's the hill, there's your turret, can't die.
It's not rocket science, it's tank science.
Unless tanks push you. But anyways, let's take a look at what happened in that one and how it all went wrong for the Horsemen.
There's where it all went wrong.
Again,
Sphinx in a T57 heavy, just not... Old habits die hard, I guess. A little bit of EL shining through, and not the best part of the EL.
Like the E100s did nothing.
Yep.
Because they were forced to push off the one flag, and this is a scenario where the UDS works. Before the UDS, you'd have an RU251 sitting up in the A1 area, and it might not always get the resets on towards the one flag. But now with the UDS, you can't just do a one flag slow cap pressure push, which is what they tried to do on Horseman's side with that.
Definitely felt like some sort of experimental lineup coming out of the Horsemen, and it didn't impress me. It didn't look too crash hot. But 6 out of 7 players on the top of the leaderboard for Meltdown. Nandesu, though, topping the damage dealt in his Kranwagen.
Well, props to him for getting top damage. I didn't expect for him to get that much, but there you go. You've got 6 of the top 7 being Meltdown members, and Blast with that UDS dealing 2k damage. I mean, it's one of the few tier 8 tanks that will often be right up the top of the scoreboard, and it's great to see.
Like you mentioned, you're comparing it to that RU251, and this kind of speaks for itself. Getting the resets onto Gorilla, getting huge damage numbers, it's just become such a vital pick when you're defending on Ghost Town.
Yeah, look, it's become a vital pick in some ways. It's like kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't, because the teams just don't go for the one flag in the situations where you pick it. I think that's the best option. But look at that. Look at that. Gorilla, nothing. E100, one shot. M40, one shot that hit. He only fired one shot, Spencer, in the M40. Kranwagen, Archon, he got a little bit done. Hawks got a little bit done. Sphinx, again, emptied 2 clips and only hit with 3 shells out of 8. Yeah. So that's not ideal either. And yeah, the T57 heavies continue to just lose, as well as the E100s, to be honest. 2 E100s on Ghost Town. I think that's a little bit too TCZ for me.
Yeah, really not shining through the Horseman squad that we're used to seeing. So hopefully, coming into the next map, they can kind of shake this loss off, regain control of the series. Because all of us here on the prediction front, we've got Horsemen winning 5-2 fashion. This is as far as we think Meltdown's going to make it, but I don't know. Meltdown, they're looking strong. Both those rounds were very, very convincing stuff. And if Horsemen were going to 2-0 Meltdown on any of the maps, I'd have put my money on Ghost Town, Alex.
What can you do? What can you
Play
do?
better, Horsemen. You're embarrassing us.
Well, yeah, I don't know about embarrassing, but
I exaggerate. I'm a drama
yeah,
queen.
like Horsemen here, they do need to step it up a bit of a notch. And Meltdown playing really well,
Yep.
no doubt about it. I think it is strange thinking about Ghost Town, the fact that it is Horsemen's most played map. So for them to look so good against EL on Ghost Town and then do that, I don't know. Anyways, it's time to think about our next map, which of course will be the city streets of Himmelsdorf. Lots of tight corridors in Himmels, of course, which teams can poke around. Lots of long alleyways as well. We've got the banana, the rail tracks, the hill. 3 main options for pushing down as the attackers from Himmelsdorf. And I think from both of these teams, particularly Meltdown, we're probably going to be expecting a bit of a passive defense, but let's see.
Meltdown on the defense this time around, straight off the cuff. 2 MX-50Bs, Batshat 25.
Wow.
Kranwagen as well.
So, yeah, Meltdown's lineup fairly standard-ish with the addition of the Kranwagen and the IS-3, which we don't always see.
Horsemen.
But Horsemen, they've got 3 tank destroyers.
A bit of a lucky dip of tanks here.
Yeah, honestly, it is. Like, they've got an FE4005, a grill, a T110E3, like a random E100 in there, an IS-4, and then a, like, yeah, T110E5. So
where's the structure that we're used to seeing out of the Horsemen? This feels like forced together, some type of Frankenstein monster of tanks.
I don't know, maybe they've got an idea, but
I hope so. I hope their idea for Himmels is better than their Ghost Town one, Alex.
Like, I mean, in some ways, the Horsemen, they're picking the E3. It's kind of, yes, it is a tank destroyer, but it'll be, generally speaking, sturdier than a heavy tank like a 113 if played correctly. But then they're going for the grill and the FV4005. Those 2 tanks, like, they're going to be competing for for each other's firing lines, right? Because they essentially do the same thing. Stay at the back, never want to get shot or even spotted. I mean, the FV4005 always gets spotted, but they never want to get shot, and they just want to be shooting down long corridors. Maybe slightly less long for the 4005, which has a very relatively inaccurate gun in the 183mm. So, interested to see how this works out. Look, maybe it's a Wunderstrat, and they'll they'll come charging down the hill. I see 1 tank and with their 3 tank destroyers, they'll one-shot it, even though they only need 1 tank destroyer to one-shot stuff, being the FE4005. But I don't know. Anyways,
as we see Horsemen getting ready to make their push, Meltdown up 2-0 at the moment. They're in the driver's seat. They have the advantage. Let's jump on board with Meltdown for a quick listen in to see how they defend this Horseman push.
가스비랑 저거 확인할 때.
안 하면은 편하게 들어. 배도 올라가 있는데 이거.
확인.
A4 먹게?
올 때 스팟 조심해요.
또 날라왔다.
불났습니다. 여기
다
불나달랐어.
이건 405다.
불나달랐어 나한테.
오케이. 뭐가 날라왔냐? 태국이요?
8005 같아.
고폭.
비담?
아니 안 달았어. 여기서 쏜 거 같거든.
아하.
이거 조심해야 될 게 진입할 때 팡팡이 조심해라 이거.
아, 나 그냥
이걸-
이거 말하려고 그랬는데 그냥 이쪽에 돌아가도 돼?
돌아가.
밑에 언제쯤일까?
용준이가 이거 확인해주면 이거 언덕에 뭐 있다 확인해주면 그때 우리 이렇게 타도 되고.
내려봐 쟤네가 모션이 없으니까.
기다릴게요.
하게 안 해도 돼 우리.
이거 나 혼자 놔도 그냥 가슴도 그냥 너네 쪽에 붙여.
그게 나을 것 같아.
그러면은 손이 진입할 때 50초
나또
여기
날라왔어.
한 방에 여기 있을게.
들어왔다고?
불나 떨어졌다고?
Horsemen very patient. They don't want to get spotted out just yet. You can see both teams looking down that B line and the A line. Horsemen, they've got all of their tanks pretty much situated around that area. Neither of them have been spotted out by each other just yet. So Meltdown, they're not 100% sure what's going on right now, but they have 5 tanks in position to answer.
And look, it's not like typically you'd think, Meltdown have no idea where Horsemen are at this stage. It's really bad for them. But Meltdown do actually have the IS-3 in the perfect position to get the reset onto Spencer here. So it's actually not the end of the world.
Are they going to push him on his side like we saw EL do?
Yeah.
Cheeky.
Oh my goodness.
He's war riding.
The Horsemen have the skills as well. That's amazing.
He fits just like a jigsaw piece, Alex. And now
Look at that.
now the
I love that he
the E100
gets bumped
is
in.
just gonna block it off completely.
Oh, that is brilliant.
Oh,
That is brilliant. You gotta love it. Gotta love it, don't you? And Momo7, I was about to say, because Momo7's in a perfect position to get the reset here if it was just the AMX 1390, but he's got to get through an E100, which,
Yeah.
hot tip, you can't just get through an E100.
it's gonna be funny when he spots him out. He's like, he shoots the E100. He's like, wait a second, that wasn't a full reset. What's going on here?
Yeah.
There's trickery afoot.
Yeah, well, we can see there 2 tanks in the flag cap zone right now, so I have a suspicion that something's up, and they are getting ready
This is so
for
cheeky.
the push in.
Visitone going for a big flank as well, but I don't know if he'll get there in time. They're getting the resets on to the E100, but he's not the main perpetrator right now. It's Spencer. They're looking under the tracks. They're looking for any signs of where he is, but shenanigans are afoot right now on the Horseman camp. 20 seconds left on the clock. Momo goes down to OBOV, and maybe this Horseman cheese is enough to get them back into this series, Alex.
Well, it might be, but let's hold that thought because the E100's just been reset. 17 seconds left, and Meltdown are going in.
Oh, they're going for a good flank right now. They know they have to get behind that E100, and they got to do it fast, but in 10 seconds left on the clock. They need to get this reset onto Spencer. Nandasu takes out Pang Pang. Here comes Visitone. He's being spotted now. Huge damage. 10 seconds left. Spencer, he's untouched right now. Blast, he needs to go in. He gets the
Here we
reset.
go.
He does it. He gets the reset. He gets the kill. Spencer on his side. All he can do is watch as things are starting to fall apart for Horsemen, but the damage has been dealt, I feel.
Yeah, well, Meltdown are not looking healthy. They're looking far from healthy right now. Their AMX-50, the Crown Wagon's on reload there, and this should be a clean-up crew
Yep.
for the Horsemen. They did exactly what they needed to. Look, at the end of the day, even though the cap was reset there, Meltdown had to sacrifice so much HP to get that reset. That's exactly what that strategy is designed to do. Very well executed there by the Horsemen, and now they just have to find Vicetone and Pink Pig and clean them up.
Yep. Pretty much textbook out of the Horsemen. Chuck a little He's still alive, Spencer, by the way. Did he unflip, or is he still there?
I think he's still there. I think he's still flipped because I don't think he can unflip unless someone pushes him again.
He's just so cheeky. Visitone trying to come for a flank. Might be lucky to pick up a kill. No, he's still there. Gorilla now in the covering position that the E100 was providing before, but Pink Pig not too healthy. One shot should do it once the accuracy is there. Takes him out. Easy kill for Pink Pig.
And Undesu.
3 seconds left on the clock. This should be a win coming from the Horsemen here. Chucking in Lil Spencer. The cheekiest of positions.
Very cheeky. Well, I like that because last time we saw that from EL Gaming when they pushed the AMX 1390 up. Didn't work, so it's good to finally see that one in the mix there, I guess.
A new spin on it as well. Last time we saw it on the other side of that 2 flag, and he was
I prefer that side, actually. Yeah.
the one we just saw.
Yeah.
Yeah, so do I. He slotted in nicely and was completely untouchable once that E100 was in place. They had to go for a full flank through the streets of Himmels to get that off. And what happens when you do that? You just get obliterated by the triple tank destroyer.
Yeah, that was strange because, like, Meltdown, I think they thought they had it.
Yeah.
Because I don't think they, worried about the reset too much because they had the IS-3 in the typical kind of reset position there. It can poke its turret over and can get some quite easy, relatively speaking, reset shots.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I don't think they allocated for the fact that there could be an E100 blocking the reset. So that was a bit of an oversight there from the Meltdown crew. And as well, like, I still would have preferred a little bit of something to give them an early warning because, like, the guys in Meltdown, they had no idea that all of Horsemen had pushed over the hill.
Yeah, you're
and
right.
if they had, they could have reacted so much quicker. They could have at least got some damage on the cross. Would have worked better.
Well, let's have another look at just how Horsemen pulled off that cheeky victory, just propping Spencer up. Ooh, that was a nearly blunder, but in the end they secure it well and just nudges his little friend into a little hiding spot there. Look how nicely he fits in.
It's actually, I think, an ancient tactic from German World War One tank manuals.
When you said ancient, I was thinking back to like Trojans and Romans and like spear. I'm like,
Yeah,
hey, where are you
yeah.
going with this, Alex? World War One wasn't that ancient.
Well, probably not. I don't know, ancient in terms of tanking, because of course the first tanks were used in World War One.
Yeah.
British Mark V.
But no, go on. I think I cut you off. What was the?
Oh yeah, ancient tactic. Yeah, no, I made that up. But anyways, let's take a look at the post-battle stats there. We've got Pink Pig up the top with the 113. 4,000 damage with 18 shots fired in that one. Vicetone, Mr. Batchat with 3.3k damage. And I'm just going to keep on talking because Rogi's having fun. Nandesu with the 4005 with 3.6 thousand damage there in that one. So look, I mean, some of the Pink
You're
Pig,
such an idiot.
some of the Meltdown guys were
God.
weren't looking too bad. Pink Pig and Vicetone up the top there, and
You say it with such confidence.
I did.
But I can't.
Well, that's the idea. You got to say it with confidence, otherwise people don't believe it.
You're not wrong, Alex. You're not wrong. But who knows what other ancient tanking strategies we'll be seeing here tonight.
Yeah, and just to be abundantly clear to everyone, there was no such thing as an ancient tanking strategy where you push a tank up onto a wall sideways to get the cat
I hope
victory.
not. Because in a video game it's fine, but that seems like a very in a cat victory.
Yeah, not gonna happen.
No, unfortunately, the real wars don't work like that. Everyone doesn't just throw down their arms when someone's like, no, I've been here for 2 minutes. Himmels is mine.
Yeah.
Get out,
Yeah.
you pesky Meltdown squad.
Some things are better. I think if you pay for premium ammo in Real Wars as well, it probably helps.
It probably does. You're not wrong. If you're paying with bottle caps, then you're gonna get second-hand rubbish. But if you're paying that premium dollar, you're getting factory-made shells.
Oh yeah, but look at that down on the bottom of the scoreboard there. The 100 for Horsemen didn't do too much, surprisingly, apart from the fact that he was obviously kind of blocking for the AMX 1390. And I don't know how an AMX 1390 that was pushed up onto his side dealt 654 damage.
He was popping off. When the MX-50B came around behind him, he was firing shots.
I still think that's so crazy.
His crew had done weight training. They had practiced for years in sideways tanks, making sure they could load ammo into the chamber to ensure that everything was at prime optimal functionality, and they pulled it off. You can't deny it. Ancient tanking strategy right there. You heard it here first.
Did work. Can't fault him for it, I guess. But
Horsemen answer back with the win onto Himmel's attack with a very unorthodox tank lineup and then a very unorthodox tank pick. And while we're speaking of crazy tank lineups, let's see if they've gone for something a little bit more standard this time around for Horsemen's defense side of Himmel's.
Nope. Not said at all. They've gone with a T110E3 and a T95. Yep. So they've got the TD bros. They've got IS4, AMX-50B, standard-ish, a bit of bulk, AMX-50, T57 heavy, which I still think is terrible, and an ML2. So they've got that tier 9, like almost T57 heavy, but better turret armor, and another E100. Whereas Meltdown, they've gone with something fairly standard with a 4005. So overall, the 4005 on Meltdown side is actually going to struggle a lot this round, because when you look at what tanks on the Horsemen's lineup, it's actually going to be able to get through. Not going to be able to get through the E100. Not going to be able to easily get through the IS4. Maybe the T57 heavy hull. Yes, the AMX-50B, not Gorilla, not Spencer, and not the ML's turret. So really, Cry has a very limited number of options in that FE4005, and that could harm Meltdown's chances a little bit there. Maybe even he should load up the old AP rounds. I doubt that they're going to do that. I always want these pros in the FE4005s or the 183s to give AP a chance sometimes, particularly in matches like this when, Hesh isn't going to do too much.
Big push coming through onto the one flag here for Meltdown. Once we get back to our God Vision, we'll see how they're deciding to make up the play. But Horsemen, no idea just yet. They All they have is their wits about them right now. You can see shots being fired off into the distance. A little bit of smoke pluming here and there. Pink Pig going to be leading the charge for the Meltdown boys.
Yeah, Pink Pig in that IS-7 there. And it's looking like he's going to be ricocheting one shot. Meltdown have sent Vicestone up towards the hill as well. But it is looking like a one flag push from them. T95 here, Spencer in a great position to kind of act on this. Obviously, one issue with the T95 is it's not going to be able to rotate very fast at all. So it is good for Spencer that this is happening on the one flag. Right now, I think it's just going to be a matter of Meltdown getting their MX-1390 in towards that flag, getting it behind that little building on the flag and getting it safe. Starting to put the pressure on towards the Horsemen.
Yeah, they got 4 members of the Meltdown squad being spotted out here. So, Horsemen, they just have to pick their moment. When do they want to make the play here? Vicestone is all alone up. Ooh, can he get a cheeky shot onto Gorilla? Not going to fire one off. Keeps his position safe for now. Obiavi takes the first shot of the match. But Blast takes a big one in response. Spencer.
Yeah, there we go. And Spencer actually has to be a little bit careful there in the T95. A few too many shots going in his direction, but look, they did get a good trade across on towards Blast. I think the E100, their OBOV, trying to get the reset.
20 seconds. They're going to have to do it soon, though. They can't keep meandering around the hill. They have to make up their mind. They have to go for the play. Good reset
there we
onto
go.
Pink Pig. A huge shot out of Spencer.
Yeah, if Meltdown stay in the cap for one more volley of these tank destroyers, then I would almost say it's as good as gone. They need to act. They need to put a little bit more pressure on or rotate or try something different, because this is the exact setup that the Horsemen are ready to defend. They've got all of their TDs down here. There's no way this cap's going to work. Like, Meltdown need to try something different.
Yeah, you can see Vicestone is kind of waiting for the rotation to come out of Horsemen and hopefully catch one of the squishier tanks off guard. Archon will be his prize, but it looks like they've bit off more than he can chew, deciding to turn tail and run here. Doesn't want too much to say about that. 30-second reload as well, so he's going to be out of the fight for a while. Archon gets control of the banana.
Here we go. So Archon in that IS-4 there. We'll be pushing down the banana. In the meantime, still Pang putting the pressure on the cap. Look, I don't mind Meltdown leaving Pang there. It does mean that they... Oh, as Cry actually gets a shot on towards the T95 to finish him off. Yeah, which is good.
What they needed.
Yeah, I feel as though this game is just going to be a very drawn-out, kind of long-range trading brawl almost, because both teams seem pretty content to do that. There's not too many options for Meltdown to rotate all of their tanks off the one flag, because they are relatively heavy, probably will take too many shots getting outside of this general area. I like the fact that they're moving Cry a little bit. If they can put him into position, then he could be a bit of a game changer. You know, a side shot on towards Sphinx's hull armor, then that's a one shot potentially for Sphinx. Obviously, average damage of the FV4005 somewhere around the 1800, 1900 mark, if I recall correctly. Maximum of 2200. So 1700 HP ML won't be too hard.
Momo gets a shot as well. Pathfinder gets lower as well. So Meltdown, nearly half the HP pool of Horsemen right now. But it's looking dicey. Good shot onto Pathfinder by Archon. Pink Pig kind of taking up all the good cover there. Archon, Pathfinder rather, forced to rotate over. Takes a shot on the back end of that one.
Yeah, like...
Pink Pig just not aware of what's showing.
If you Meltdown here, seriously, unless Cry does get a massive one shot, and then Meltdown push in, follow it up right after that, then I just cannot see them making this work. But, oh, here we are. Oh, he needs this. Oh, no, he's messed it. He's completely messed it up there, Cry. That needed to be a shot that went through. Unfortunately, it's not. They do manage to finish him off anyway, but... could have been a lot cleaner there for Meltdown.
A lot less shells being spent as well. Now Archon, last player left alive to defend the D-line. Vicestone going for a very wide flank. Who's he got in his sights this time? It's not a Vicestone unless he's playing aggressive and in your face.
Yeah, that's right. Viceton going very aggro, and the only saving grace here for Meltdown is that they do technically still have all of their tanks up on the field.
Yeah.
How much longer Pathfinder's up for?
So low.
Oh, there we
my
go!
lord.
1800 damage shot onto the T-57 Heavy. Pathfinder now just needs one more. If he can clean this up, that's going to be worth. Yes!
Oh, Pig takes him out, and look like that. Meltdown, they're answering with 3 tanks down, where their HP pool is still so low. 86 health onto Blast right now. Now Archon, he doesn't know where to look. Viceton, he's made a very wide flank around the side of the map. Can he make a play onto Hawks, or who does he want to go for? He hasn't made up his mind.
Oh my goodness, this could be the turnaround that Meltdown needed, and in the meantime, that AMX 1390 is still causing a lot of trouble for the Horsemen. Vicestone going on towards Hawks.
He wants to take this 1v1 right now. OBOV not finding the damage that he needs. A very long reload time. Vicetone, 2 shots left in the chamber should be enough. Hawks, he's gonna fall, and Horsemen, despite having such a massive lead, HP pool wise over Meltdown, they make things worse, and it's all because of this guy here, Cry, dishing out the damage when it mattered. Sure, he missed the one onto the email too, but it didn't matter. He got that 1800 on to the 57 Heavy.
Oh, and this is just a situation where you do not want an E100 as your last tank, regardless. With 5 tanks up, I don't think there would have been much that they could do. He's set on fire there by the 4005 and taken down Meltdown. Great little comeback there for the win.
It's been an exciting night of tanks tonight, let me tell you. What an excellent performance of Meltdown. They came into this series as the underdog. They're showing up and they're impressing us every step of the way. A great attack on Himmels.
Yeah, look, I mean, I don't know what really went wrong for the Horsemen there. They did stick around. They were way out in front in terms of HP, but like, yeah, they were playing the poke game, the trade game, and they'd only lost 1 tank. So if I still think they were very much winning it. Had 5,000 more HP than Meltdown, but then I think the big issue for them was that they didn't push their advantage. They didn't gain map control after that, so that Cry in their 4005 was able to push all the way up to where those Horsemen, 113, Emil, etc. were sitting. And Vicestone as well, he made part of that really big play. And Meltdown were able to get 2 tanks off the field, and just like that, after 2 tank kills, there was only 4 tanks left up for the Horsemen.
Yeah, they just rested on their laurels. They thought, hey, we have such a huge HP pool advantage. 1 shot on like 3 or 4 of the Meltdown tanks would have sent them reeling. But Meltdown, they stuck to their guns. They had the turret advantage. They had more shots to be placed into the side of Horsemen, and they just couldn't find an entry point. So let's check a look at the replays and see what went wrong for the Horsemen. Despite having such a massive lead, they crumbled in the end.
Yeah, so, I mean, and again, even that was almost a bit of a mistake onto the Emil. Because Cry should have one-shot him, but he didn't. But in the end of the day, it didn't matter because Vicestone was there to help out the IS-7. Their Pink Pig was there to finish off the T-57. And again, it's like these T-57s, man, they don't do much. Like,
I'm really liking the FE4005 on Himmels. It's becoming a staple part.
Well, the FE4005 is one of my favourite tanks in the league, not only because I own its sort of brother tank, the 183, but because it's actually got a really high win rate. This season, 72.7%.
It's only getting higher, Alex.
Exactly. It's only getting higher. So, like, look at that. Look at that. 5.7 thousand damage for Cry. And that is with messing up one of his shots.
Yeah, he easily could have hit that 6.
Yeah, exactly. The 6 was very, very doable for him in that game. And I said at the start of the game, I said, you know what, this isn't going to be easy for Cry in the 4005. He doesn't have that many targets to go through, but he found them. He didn't just, like, he's the MVP. He didn't just sit back, like most 4005 players we've seen in WGL do so far. He actually pushed. He used his tank as a threat, because once an FE4005 gets within range of you, and any of those tanks which can potentially be penetrated by it, which, to be fair, just about anything can if it's at the right angle, then you can't take the trade with it. You know, you get scared. You
got to respect it.
Yeah, you got to respect it absolutely, and your whole team has to try and work out how to deal with it.
No, it's definitely a tank that requires so much coordination to play around because, like we saw, one wrong step and you're gone. You're taking an 1800 damage to the face.
Yep.
And that just can't happen.
And look at that OBOV. I mean, I know he's getting the cap reset, and that's where the 17 shots come from. But seriously, 1135 damage, and he was the last one alive. That is pretty poor. I mean, look, it's an E100, so I hate the E100 anyway. I don't like the T57 either. 806 damage. The T57 there, it offered nothing. Like, there was no reason whatsoever to pick a T57 heavy over another AMX 50B there for the Horsemen. They would have had another shell in the clip. They might have been able to finish off that low HP, I think it was IS7 from Pink Pig, or maybe Pathfinder at the 113.
Everyone on Meltdown was low.
Yeah,
Everyone on Meltdown was one shot of
That's a situation where one more shot from an AMX 50B over the T57 Heavy wins the game. So that's really it. And Meltdown, look, they played that one really well. MVPs definitely go to cry in that 4005, and also Mr. Batchat himself, Vicetone.
It's really good to see Vicetone back on form. He's been having a very rough start to the season, just constantly being caught out of position, doing those aggressive plays. They're not paying off. He's finding the time and the place. He's not jumping the gun, and he's not resting back.
He's playing Vicetone this season, I feel, and he's doing what he did last season in that now, recently, he's changed it up so that he comes in last. You know, he is the sort of the vulture of the battle.
He's a janitor.
Exactly, the janitor with that Batchat. And that's how he plays the Batchat.
Although I like Vulture more.
Yeah, and that's how he plays it in pubs. That's how he does well in it. But it's time now to take a look at Steps as our next map to see what these teams do now that the playing field's changed a little bit. Don't think we're going to be seeing any crazy picks.
This looks like a very Cliffs-style lineup for Horsemen, but they've opted to go for it on Steps.
This is interesting from the Horsemen, going with the full Batchat lineup. Look, they're probably just going towards the northern flag.
Sure.
I don't know whether they'll... With the AMX 1390, they have the option not just to rush. I mean, they can just see the AMX 1390 there and see what happens. Meltdown, on the other hand, very balanced lineup. They're not going to be going with the Oods here on Steps to push up the boost. Just going to be going with the RU251 instead, which is perfectly valid. Kranwagen, I like that. You can put that on the other side of the rail tracks. Very hard to dig out unless you rush it. 113, very solid tank. So I'm actually favouring Meltdown's lineup just a little bit here, but we'll see how Horsemen use the Batchats.
All I can hear right now is Flight of the Valkyries playing in my head as all 7 of those tanks are just absolutely hauling through Steps right now. Once they're spotted out, it's going to be pretty clear what the plan is. Pang Pang's going to abandon ship very soon once it's clear that all 7 are going for that one flag, and I think they've been spotted out just about. There we go. Well, you can see Momo, he might be the first one on scene to help, but he's found 6 Batchats, has all got their sights focused on him. Pathfinder gets obliterated from the map, and where's the return from Meltdown? It's not just there yet. Momo gets turned to scrap Gorilla doing work. These Batchats are just pumping out the damage, and it might not matter once they're all on reload because I feel like the damage has been dealt.
Yeah, that was really rough there for Meltdown. Horsemen, that's exactly what they picked the Batchats for, just to get in there, to get the damage out, to take out a few key targets. Great kind of target calling as well from the Horsemen lineup, being able to take out Momo 7 and Pathfinder so quickly. Now it's a big uphill battle here for Meltdown to come back.
Oh yeah, once these Batchats are all off reload, it's just going to be deja vu from the start of this round. They're all going to come in, they're all going to pick a target and send them reeling from the damage right now. Well, the question is just who are they going to go for here?
Right now, Pink Pig is in a very dubious situation, dubious position, and I think he's probably going to be next for the chopping block.
Gets a shot onto Archon. Archon getting lower and lower, but...
Oh, it's a good little return there from Meltdown, though, onto Archon.
Yeah, they've got the HP pool advantage, but this is when Horsemen decide to slow it down. Spencer actually falls down here, but they still have 6 Batchats left on the field, so their strategy is still in full effect. Hawks takes a shot from the 113, but looks like he wants to go for the trade right now, getting lower and lower. Shot through the train as well. Very precision
Good
tanking
shooting.
coming out of Meltdown.
Really good shooting from Meltdown right here. These are some
Even
shots which I don't think Horsemen...
Oh, here comes Cry.
Oh, look at this.
On the back end, he's got the reload, misses the next shot. One more should do it. Nandasu very, very low. He goes down and has Meltdown.
They're doing it
Despite
again.
everything, turn this on its head. Horsemen are choking under the pressure.
Yeah, I don't know what the Horsemen were thinking there. Like, they missed some shots onto the 113, a few ricocheted, I think. Look, they're still very much in it, but it's a big uphill battle because, well...
The momentum shift in this game
Yeah.
alone is paramount. It's huge. Horsemen, they answered so well at the start. They throw down the gauntlet. They get 2 kills straight off the initial. All they have to do is slow it down, find a tank, do the exact same thing, get in there, pick him off, go back for the reloads, rinse and repeat. And seemingly it's over, but Meltdown with precision tanking, hitting those shots through the train, under the tracks. It's a real treat to watch. It's a real treat for all us viewers tonight, Alex. It's a great night of tanking.
Absolutely, but it's not over yet. Of course, Horsemen right now still trying to stay in this. And look, they do have 4 bat chats, and the beauty of bat chats is that, you know, if they find any individual member of Meltdown making a mistake, they can punish that. So Meltdown, look, they have to be on their toes here. And Horsemen, in the meantime, I'm not entirely sure if I'm liking how they're playing this one by splitting up. They can't afford to split up right now.
You can't go Batshat versus Batshat when you got Visitone on the field. Mr. Batshat himself, Horseman, 700 HP to their name.
Yeah.
Less than Pang Pang as RU251 at the moment.
Yeah, and look, at this point, Cry, he pretty much can push straight in.
Yeah.
He's on 1800 health, and he should be able to take out 1, probably 2 of those bad chats before they take him down with their volley. So, at this point, it is looking like a Meltdown win, and after a surprising start there from the Horsemen, like, I'm trying to work out what they did wrong in that little secondary push that they did, and
they
took
didn't
too much
capitalize
damage.
on that 113. They kept trying to poke out and get him instead of just committing to the play, and their
I think that was
indecisive
it.
nature combined with great shots coming out of Meltdown. Don't get me wrong, their accuracy was on point. I think it was just here on the train tracks, hitting through under the carriage itself, between the tracks, getting the shots onto Gorilla. Just incredible stuff.
Incredible stuff, and
we've already had a night of incredible stuff. I can't handle anything more, Alex.
Oh, that was such a close miss. There we go. There we go. Yep. See you later.
See you later,
just
skater.
like that, I never, honestly, like, I picked the crazy pick in team efficiency winning against EL, but I really never in a million years would have thought that Meltdown would be 4-1 up against Horsemen for a potential 5-1 against them.
I know, and like you said, that's coming from you after going for the bold team efficiency pick. So, here we are. Meltdown, 4-1, match point against Horsemen, who...
Once they can finish off Hawks, that is. There we go.
This is Horsemen that took EL to tiebreaker last week. Did go down to Karen Tiger 5-1, and maybe are looking to go down to Meltdown 5-1. A very bold strategy on steps involving 6 bat shots, not paying off despite getting 2 kills off the initial. You just can't let advantages like that slip away.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, it was 2 kills. It was 2 kills that they
Big
got
kills
to,
as well.
to start off. Exactly. They got the Kranvagen down. I think they got a bat chat down as well.
It's not like they just killed a RU251.
Yeah, and then I think you're right. They just needed to push out after they got those kills and stop kind of pussyfooting it about around the train tracks there, and allowing all of those dug-in Meltdown members to get shots through the train tracks. And look, I think it's probably safe to say that RNG played a little bit of a part in Meltdown's kind of win there, because shooting underneath those train tracks with bat chats, you're not going to have a 100% chance to hit. Even if you're zoomed in, that is still
that's the nature of tanks.
50-50. But yeah, that is the nature of tanks. And if they had just pushed over, emptied their shots onto the 113, then the 113 would have only got 1 shot off. Instead, I think he got 2 because all those batches were too scared to poke over and actually finish him off. Would have worked out better, but again, that's the way the tracks fall off. Max.
Look, I think when you're setting your speed to that higher caliber, just jumping in with 6 bat shots, you can't afford to just take a step back and wait. And like you said, just play on the defensive when you have such a massive advantage. So let's take a look at some of the replays that really set Horsemen up for a win and then fumbled.
Yeah, so Pathfinder down. Momo 7 in the Kranwagen down. The total HP, it's roughly the same. They're with a slightly in favour of the Horsemen, but they've got 2 tanks off the field. They should have been able to translate that into a win.
2 very valuable tanks as well.
Yeah, the Kranwagen and the Batch. I mean, the Kranwagen, look, you wouldn't really mind if that was the only tank that went down. It's semi-designed to do that and take a few shots and be the front tank, but look, great response there from Meltdown. And again, Cry. Look,
Huge
it doesn't
stuff.
matter whether he's in a 4005, doesn't matter whether he's in a Bat Chat. He's right up the top there, 3.1 thousand damage there in that Bat Chat. And Mr. Pink Pig in the 113, dealing a pretty respectable 3,000 as well.
It's really sizable numbers being put up from the core members of Meltdown right now. They're doing work. Visatone as well. When the saying goes, don't bring a knife to a gunfight, you don't bring a Batshat against Visatone. He's essentially just got that one up. The man knows this tank inside and out. There's a reason we sing him songs of praise.
Yeah, well, I mean, Vicetone, for those of you that are unaware, the reason he's called Mr. Batchat is he's played over 20,000 games in a Batchat.
Let that sink in. 20,000 games. And well, the tanks games, they're not quick.
No, not at all. So, there we go. But overall, 4-1, and just like that, the Horsemen are staring a 5-1 defeat in the face against Meltdown there. I think... look, some big mistakes, and now that we're on the second half of steps, I think it will be a little bit easier for Horsemen to come back into this one, a little bit easier for them to defend, but let's take a look at what tanks they're going to be going with. Is it going to be all Bat Chats again?
Well, this is their last shot. They really need to do something a little bit more stable. Couple 4 Bat Shots, couple 113s and a Artie.
Okay. Horsemen going to be going with the Artie.
Nearly identical.
Yeah, interesting. Like, only difference is the Artie. I don't mind the artillery piece here on steps sometimes. I think the M40, it does have the potential to get some big shots across, particularly towards those 113s who are just going to be camped in a hold down position.
Yeah.
On the attack potentially, but I mean, yeah, it's still so. I think it does leave them slightly vulnerable to maybe a bit of a push on the 2 flag, bit of a fast push if that's what Meltdown do decide to go for.
Oh, looks like Meltdown, they are doing quite a fast push, as a matter of fact, moving very heavily in that pack formation over towards the 2 flag, and Meltdown up 4-1 over Horsemen. No one could have called this one. We've had an interesting night so far, and it's just getting even more and more exciting. Meltdown, they've spotted out Archon. He's moved quite far up from the rest of the squad, but surely he spotted them in return. The owner's going to be on to Spencer to hit those big arty shots.
Sure is, and this isn't a good spot for the Horsemen to actually be in to defend out a 2 flag cap.
No one went up on the boost either.
No, I suppose with the Artie, Horsemen not really wanting to move up there, but Pang doing a great job for Meltdown. I like how Meltdown are using this RU-251 to do exactly what it was designed to do, to scout, of course, the RU-251. Oh, maybe helping to spot out OBOV. Oh, there's a few big spots. That's a good bit of a spotting there from, I think, Cry in that Bat Chat. And is this going to be the move here from Horsemen?
Oh, I think it is. Over the hills and far away. Here come the Meltdown push. They've got their sight set onto OBOV. He's about to get sent sky high. He goes absolutely destroyed. Pathfinder finds that one.
See you, Sphinx.
The next target. This is reminiscent of how Horsemen played their attack side. Momo in the back in the 113, dishing out the damage. There goes Sphinx Archon should be the
Later,
next one to
Archon.
fall. He gets blown up now. Hawks in the firing line. Where are the reloads coming through? He's only got one shot left. Momo7 takes him out. It's a 5 versus 3, and Horsemen, with no hope of retaliation, could be falling down 4-1 to Meltdown.
Oh.
Ram him!
Yeah,
Ram
there we
him,
go.
boys!
Gave him the little love tap there to finish him off, and Meltdown just like that. They've got 5 tanks left. This is going to be an easy cleanup here
Wow.
from Meltdown. And like you can see, Horsemen, they were not expecting that 2 flag
What
push.
a night, Alex,
It-
we've had.
Absolutely crazy. Crazy.
See you later, Gorilla. The love
Oh,
tap
there we
to
go.
finish off the series. 5-1 to Meltdown. And I really wanted them to leave a mark on the APAC, on WGL APAC Season 2 tonight. I wanted them to step up and take something because they were so bland before this. I had nothing to reference them. They were just kind of mediocrity. But tonight, they've really stepped up. They've proven themselves against one of the top teams in the region.
Yeah, I mean, look, simple. That game there, that was Season 2 Meltdown. They brought in new tanks. Vice Tone was back. He was back playing that kind of cleanup role. You know, they used a few new strategies. They kept their cool. They turned those lots of games around, like 3 almost games around that just did not look like
I know.
they didn't have the right to win those ones, and like. That was just great play there from Meltdown.
Thinking back to the Himmels, when they're down like 5,000, 6,000 health, to be able to turn that around that's just excellent tanking. It really is, and they just play this series impeccably right now.
Yeah.
Horsemen, obviously, you can pick and prod mistakes that they made throughout the series, but this was Meltdown playing on a whole nother level tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And in that last one there, I mean, I think just touching back on that quickly, Meltdown, they just had the right strategy that Horsemen wasn't expecting. Horsemen, you know, might have seen all of those fast tanks and thought, oh yeah, Meltdown's probably going to be going for, you know, the 1 flag push, but no, not to be.
Let's have a look at the replays, because I really want to see all 7 of the tanks just coming over the hill,
Yeah,
but this is
great
the
focus
aftermath of
fire.
that one.
Yeah. Taking down OBOV first. Next, the call is made onto Sphinx. You know, they haven't touched Gorilla. They haven't touched Spencer. They haven't really touched Nundesu until Hawk starts to go down. So brilliant focus fire.
Meltdown didn't let up.
No,
They didn't get a few kills and then say, oh, let's back off, let's go again. They just kept going. They kept the pressure.
Yep.
They kept the aggression. And that's what they needed
Yep.
to take this series out. Congratulations to Meltdown. Impeccable performance.
And look, Horsemen there as well. They made some mistakes by splitting their damage across Meltdown. We could see after that initial push in that some of the Meltdown guys were, you know, taking 1 shot, 2 shot, 3 shots
Cry
here,
again.
there, or everywhere. But yeah, Cry again up the top. 2.6 thousand damage in the bat chat, pretty good. Pig 1902 in the 113, pretty good. Good to see Momo 7 up there as well, and Vice Tone naturally 1773 in spot number 7. But well, nothing really impressive on the Horseman side of things. And the other issue I found for Horsemen there is why they decided to push across the train tracks when they did, because if they'd stayed behind the train tracks, then Meltdown might have pushed into them, and they might have been able to have a bit of a hold down advantage there. But nope, they just decided to push out into the open, and bat chats in the open. When they're stationary, they had to kind of reverse dead bat chats.
Only 1 shot coming out of the Artie as well. Didn't capitalize on any kills. You know, a little bit of damage, moderate, but nothing impressive.
Decent shot, but no, you're right. No 1 shots, which you'd be loving to see from that M40. And we haven't really seen the M40 there from the Horsemen have much of an impact in this series. Actually, they picked it on Ghost Town, of course, I believe it was, and really didn't do too much.
Poor format of the Horsemen tonight, really. After such a successful start to the season, this is going to be the rise and fall of our 2 teams tonight. We have the rise of Team Efficiency and Meltdown and the fall of Horsemen and EL Gaming.
Yeah. I mean, like crazy matches tonight, and I think this is the first Friday where I've stepped into the chair fully instead of Jordan.
I hope the rest of the Fridays are this exciting.
Yeah,
Alex.
seriously, I think Jordan's going to be a little bit annoyed that he couldn't cast these matches because these have been fantastic to cast.
Fridays where it gets wild, mate. People get loose.
Obviously, it's the late show with WGL APAC.
Fun day Friday.
Yeah, fun day Friday, but there you go, 5-1. It's weird to say it, weird to see that from,
I know, it
from
really is.
Meltdown and Horsemen, but that's how it is. Let's take a look at the post-match stats, Max, so we can see who are the top
It's got to be
playing
Cry.
players. Yeah, Cry 2.7 thousand average damage. Oh my god, that's insane. That is actually insane. From
Vicetone,
him.
back on form.
Yeah, Vicetone back on forward, 2.3k. That's the Vicetone we know and love. Pink Pig there. You know, we said to watch out for him and Blast at the start of the game, and well, that's why, because 1, 2, 3, 4. They're the core members of Meltdown who could bring it back. So.
Oh, that's right. And that's what Meltdown were lacking in all their games, is their damage dealers to play on point. Because this is the first time in a while we've actually seen Vicetone up on the top end of the average damage dealt. Sure, he got outshone by Cry, but Cry was being put into excellent positions to be the main source of damage for the team. But it is great to see Mr. Batshot Vicetone back on point. You can see the bottom half of the leaderboard here. Gorilla, he did all right. Usually we see Gorilla doing a little bit more. Momo and Pathfinder both slotting in nicely.
You know, the really unimpressive thing is after that match, Sphinx, 1185 average damage, which isn't great.
No, it's
then
not.
2 average kills, or 2 total kills rather. Like, that's for Sphinx to only get 2 kills in 6 matches. It's really poor form, and only 28 shots fired as well. Like, you know, Sphinx need to shoot a little bit more, I think. So, not great there for Mr. Sphinx.
No, not great at all. Hopefully, Horsemen hopefully this isn't a kind of a downward spiral. This is a 3rd loss in a row after that very close loss to EL, where we thought Horsemen top contenders here. 5-1 to Karen Tiger, 5-1 to Meltdown. And to give you guys a recap of the night, if you missed the first game of the series, you better wait till this show's over. Go and rewatch the VODs, because Team Efficiency took out EL Gaming in, without a doubt, the best display of tanking we've ever seen in the APAC region. Then Meltdown, another excellent game where they won 3 rounds they had no business winning against Horsemen to take out a very dominating 5-1 victory.
Yeah, there we go. That one at the end, I never would have guessed that would go to 5-1. But seriously, guys, if you missed TE and the guys from EL Gaming battle it out, definitely rewatch the VOD after this. We'll get it up on YouTube super fast after, because that is one for the ages, I think. But look, we've also got to look forward to tomorrow and really think about what's going to happen by the end of this weekend, because we've just seen 2 absolute upsets. Massive upsets. You know, we've got Team Efficiency versus Horsemen. Like, Team Efficiency could be sitting so high up on the ladder by the end of this weekend. It could be crazy. Like, crazy.
And to start us off tomorrow, if I'm Coalition Zoo and I just watched that series, I'd be shaking in my boots right now. They go up against Meltdown in our first match of the series. Like Alex said, Team Efficiency versus Horsemen is a great opportunity for Team Efficiency to cement themselves at the higher up on this leaderboard. B Gaming versus EL. B Gaming, once the EL Slayers of old, let's see if they can regain some of their former glory. And of course, Karen Tiger taking on Dark Wolves. Should be a swift victory for Karen Tiger to round us out the night.
You'd hope so. Yeah, absolutely.
Anything can happen. This week is crazy, Alex. Phase 2 is bizarre.
Exactly. It is this week. Look, we've seen 2 crazy results. So counting those ones out at the end of tomorrow, I'm not sure if I'm ready to do that just yet. I might have to have a bit of a revisit of my predictions.
I think so. I think after tonight's games, we owe it to ourselves to go back. But look, it's been a long night. It's been an epic night. We've had one of the best games in APAC history. We had a huge upset coming out of Meltdown, but that's going to do it for us tonight. Thank you guys all so much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow, and happy tanking.
To be able to take out EL Gaming quite simply with than all tanks. And that's exactly what Konovsky's doing there. Shot onto Principal, one shot onto Fox here. They've only got 4 tanks left. The HP lead is EL's got double TE's HP right now, and no signs of it going down too much further. So it should be a very winnable rule here for me.
Yep, we're able to take out Quiet Principal with the
Go
one.
down. Maybe Black will go down here. A little bit of a bigger ramp would have helped, but Black is on 474. Just need a big roll, and oh no, he's already fired. Bolognese
Yeah, he missed it.
Oh, that is not ideal. Oh no, it's so low.
Or for us, a banana.
Yep. Banana just down here.
It doesn't matter whether it's EL's chance of losing a game. I think we've seen the Church of Elong being disbanded as team efficiency on such an upswing, momentous play. Take out EL Gaming.
Oh yeah. Oh.
Cheeky.
Oh my goodness.
He's wall riding.
The Horsemen have the skills as well. It's amazing.
It's just like a jigsaw piece, Alex. And now,
Look at that.
now the
I love that.
gets bumped in. And Horsemen, despite
Oh.
having such a massive lead, HP pool seemed to help, but he's found 6 bat jets has all got their sights focused on him. Pathfinder gets obliterated from the map, and where's the return from Meltdown? It's not just there yet. Momo gets turned to scrap. Could be falling down 4-1 to Meltdown.
Oh.
Ram him!
Yeah,
Ram
there we
him,
go.
boys!
Gave him the little